Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. Today I want to talk about 3 cool weather crops that can really take a hard freeze. These are plants that you can grow well into the winter, maybe under some tunnels or in a greenhouse of course, but they can really take that deep freeze. And that's what people don't understand the most. Well, what signifies a deep freeze? And these are all cool weather crops we're looking at right now. So they all can take a frost. They can handle temperatures that fall below 32 degrees Fahrenheit of freeze or 0 degrees Celsius. And they can go and survive really if the temperatures get down to 25 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 3-4 degrees Celsius. The freeze is there. You can see that the peas right here typically can take a frost. They didn't survive. Right in here I have radishes. They didn't survive. A deep freeze is when you're getting 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours at night of a freeze. It could be the day, but it typically happens at night as you're progressing into the winter. So you're getting that prolonged period of temperatures that are freezing for 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. When you're getting that, the leaves and the stems of the plants freeze. Here are 2 examples of plants that are doing really well. Over the last 2 weeks, we've had temperatures here in Maryland where it's gotten down to 20 degrees Fahrenheit, 8 hours at night. That's a deep freeze, well below freezing. That's about minus 6 Celsius. Those are turnips right over there. I'll talk specifically about the plants in a second. So what you're looking for are when your temperatures are getting into a prolonged freeze closer to the mid-20s Fahrenheit, minus 3, minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit. That's going to kill minus 3, minus 4 degrees Celsius. That's going to kill off a lot of your plants. That's bok choy or pak choy. Didn't make it. So over that 2-week period, we've had plenty of nights now consecutively of that 4 to 8 hours of freeze. Temperatures into the mid-20s Fahrenheit. We even touched into the teens. Spinach is the #1 crop that I recommend for growing through the winter. This is, I believe, it'll come to me, giant noble spinach. Handles the freeze wonderfully. That deep freeze, those cold temperatures, no issues whatsoever. Some of the leaves do get beat up. As it would warm up, this is going to spring back, be wonderful. Perfect for growing in cold frames all winter long here in Maryland Zone 7. And in January, February, we'll get temperatures to minus 6 Celsius, 20 degrees Fahrenheit pretty regularly. So the #1 crop, let's just say, or the top 3, is spinach. The other one is kale. All varieties of kale do really well. This is probably a dwarf curled and Scotch blue. I have different varieties, or dwarf Siberian, Scotch blue. It doesn't really matter. Kales are wonderful. Not collards, but kale. Deep freeze. It looks beautiful. So that's #2. I'll show you the examples of plants that just didn't make it. The bok choy can take freeze and stuff like that, but not at that prolonged period. So it's all wiped out. And I went away for a while, and so a lot of my plants didn't get harvested. Coming in here, we have pea plants damaged. You can see the pea pods damaged. Some of the leaves survive. The leaves do better than the flowers and the pods. The pods really don't handle a freeze or frost well. That is Swiss chard, got beat up. The core usually stays fine. Maybe it comes back, but again, can't take that prolonged period. The third one are turnips. For a root crop, I really like turnips. Beat up a little bit, but when you get down to here, it's a very thick, waxy skin sort of around the turnip, and they don't freeze. When they freeze, they're going to be mushy. So that's like one thing. That's one of the fails with radishes. The radish leaves die back. The radish themselves will freeze with these prolonged periods of 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours of freezing temperatures, and they just, taste terrible. They're no good. They're rubbery. We'll walk over here too, and I guess there's really 4. If you want something bigger, and you do have to worry about white flies with collards. If you're growing collards under tunnels, in cold frames, in a greenhouse, they're really susceptible to white flies, but they do extremely well in those prolonged freezes. And you can see the sprouts forming on there. They might get a little beat up or, brown on the outside, but this is a really hardy plant. So Brussels would be #4. Maybe we'll get to 5. Kohlrabi doesn't quite make it. Wonderful crop, but gets kind of beat up. This is cauliflower. Now, it can, again, all the plants I'm showing you can take a freeze. And that freeze might be 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours if the temperatures just, drop a little bit below 0 Celsius, a little bit below 32 Fahrenheit. This starts to get a little bit rubbery. It's making it. Cauliflower's on the bubble. This isn't quite soft yet. Leaves are beat up. I'll get a little bit of cauliflower out of this, but I'm starting to roll into even colder temperatures now. Broccoli is in the same family. It's a little bit more hardy than the cauliflower. This has taken those freezes for 6 hours, and the flower is still okay. This is a variety that does more smaller shoots out the side. Coming around here, I have my beets. The leaves are pretty much damaged. The smaller leaves will come back. The beets themselves might be okay, but I leave these in there so that come spring, I'll get a bunch of greens, leafy greens. I'll eat those as I wait for my new seeds and plants to establish. Here are the radishes. Really beat back. If you get in there and I press on those, they're kind of rubbery. So they can't take that prolonged period of freezing. That's what I want to stress. It's a prolonged period of hours that really damage these cold hardy crops. This is an area of broccoli which I'm glad that I harvested. I took all the crowns out of here. You can see that the leaves are beat up. That is more Brussels sprouts right in there. And let's go with the fifth, are spring onions. Spring onions are really hardy, and these have managed pretty well. You can see the outer leaves get beat up, but just look at the beautiful leaves right in here. Even the core of the stem is pretty much undamaged. I would just peel this away and I'd have wonderful onions, bunching onions for my garden. So just to recap, it's that period of freeze at night, 4, 6, 8 hours, and the further you go from 32 degrees or 0 Celsius, the more damage your plants can get. That's celery in there, by the way. That can handle a freeze pretty nicely. So the 5 crops that I showed you are crops that you can probably grow if you have a winter similar to Maryland, that you could probably grow through the winter. You'll need a cold frame, you'll need some sort of low tunnel, but they do really well. And then come spring, not only can you harvest them through the colder periods, but come spring they take off and you'll have plants ready to eat while you're getting your new garden established. Thanks for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com, and please subscribe. I'll see you in 2023 when the garden's coming back to life. Thanks for watching.